Welcome to MMA Noise. I'm Mike Straka, your host, and there's nobody who's made more noise in his career than this gentleman right here, who needs no introduction, Chael P. Sonnen.
Tell him, Mike. Tell him. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome.
So we're up here in Bristol, Connecticut. We're in ESPN country. What the hell are you doing in ESPN?
I tell you, well, what I'm doing in Bristol is I'm doing ESPN. What is ESPN doing in Bristol? I don't know. There's not a whole lot going on in this city, man. If it wasn't for ESPN, there wouldn't be much of a town here. But here we are.
Yeah. So tell me about your life post UFC, because I haven't talked to you since you retired.
Well, I became a father.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Son or daughter?
Little boy. He's in training right now for the 2036 Olympic Games. He's given me like some non-verbal clues that he's committed. So that's what we're focused on. Sport to be determined, but mark that date on your calendar. I'm 38 right now. I just had my first one. But it's fun, man. I mean, I'm not sleeping much, but I sure am enjoying the process. The quieter one probably is more confident. Where my debate comes in is...
Wait. What did you just say?
Where my debate comes in?
No, the quieter one is more confident?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
So what are you saying about your whole career?
I think that there is a little bit of cover.
So you were insecure your whole career?
Well, I think to some extent, I don't know that I would disagree with you. You know, there is some extent where you're trying to get yourself into your right state of mind. But my argument would be, I don't know when confidence has ever helped a person. I know as announcers, we talk about it all the time. We act as though it helps. Look, this is the only thing that helps you in the middle of a fight. And a judge is never going to ask you at the end of the round who was more confident. They're going to say who hit who more times.
You know, it's
People
funny.
try to say it's mental, Mike. It's not. It's physical.
Well, I'm talking to a fighter, so obviously I have to believe you. But I just interviewed Sara McMann, who told me at the level where your skill sets are the same, it's the 6 inches between your ears that could make the difference in a fight.
Well, that's a hell of a preface to say when you're at the level and your skill sets are the same. Name one time where somebody's skill sets are the same. I mean, yes, if you were to preface it with something bizarre like that, I mean, look, Sara McMann's an excellent fighter. She was an excellent wrestler. There is no athlete in the UFC that is more mismanaged than Sara McMann. I don't know who her manager is, but they've done a terrible job. Her coach has done almost as equally of a bad job. Sara McMann, if I would have grabbed her at the beginning of her career, and I wish I would have, because when she started, I was so excited about her. I still am now, and I'm a friend of hers that goes back to amateur wrestling. She has done everything you could possibly do wrong. If you're a young fighter, male or female, you want to look at what not to do, go study her career.
Wow. You talk about mismanaging the beginning part of your career. There's two fighters in my mind who've mismanaged the end of their careers. One is Fedor Emelianenko, and the other is Anderson Silva. Now, you have very, very close with Anderson Silva. Your rivalry is epic in the annals of UFC. What's your take on the last fights that Anderson has partaken in? The first two fights were Weidman, and then the Nick Diaz fight, which just boggled my mind.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing with Weidman. Weidman's a better fighter. And so many people at the end of the first fight, for those that can remember it, Mike, what they did is they came out and said, well, Anderson was screwing around. And I'm looking at it going, I mean, I've seen all of Anderson's fight. I've been in there with, I've studied him very closely. That's the way he fights every time. Now, yes, in the middle of some of that screwing around, which is what Anderson uses as a setup, Anderson gets you looking away, boom, and he comes in and attacks you. In the middle of some of that, Weidman did land the knockout punch, but up until that point, it was a 7.5 minute fight. Weidman won 7.5 minutes of that fight. Same thing with the second fight they had. That was a weird finish, and it pains me, and I hate to see that Anderson went through that. But the bottom line was, before that weird finish, Chris Weidman dominated that fight. Anderson's fight with Diaz, I loved it. And not only did I love it, I was also inspired by it, because, you know, as you get older in your career like I am, you see Anderson come out after this absolute career-changing injury, comes into a main event, 5 rounds, pushes the pace against one of the most intimidating cardio machines the sport has, and Anderson went out there and he was the one that was pushing the pace and doing the strikes, and I really thought that he fought very well.
As you know, anything can happen in a fight.
Sure.
I mean, you were about 10 seconds away from winning the light heavyweight belt from John Jones when his toe would look like this.
Yeah. You know, I don't imply that John Jones is superhuman, but if you just want to talk about skill for skill, no lucky shit, nothing like that, John Jones, baddest dude in the world.
Well, you almost beat him.
Well,
he almost took his belt.
Almost got my hand raised. I suppose there's some truth to that.
I got to talk about Vitor Belfort for a second. And did you ever fight Vitor?
No, I was signed to fight him.
Oh, that's right.
When I went out on my suspension, I had Vanderlei. Vanderlei was suspended, didn't take the test. I took so my new opponent became Vitor. I took the test, failed the test,
Right.
so that fight never happened. So that was as close as I got to Vitor.
Right, okay. Well, Michael Bisping said that Vitor looked like a dad who goes to the gym once a week in his last fight, as opposed to what he looked like when he fought Michael Bisping. And it's very true.
Yeah.
But being a dad who goes to the gym once a week,
Yeah.
I think we still look, I think Vitor still looked pretty decent.
I thought he did too. Now,
Bisping, come on.
Vitor was a very intimidating specimen. Michael Bisping got in there like the man that he is. Michael Bisping is the one true tough guy in the UFC. He will fight anybody at any time. He never pulls out of fights, no crap. He shows up and fights. Doesn't matter if it's a main event, co-main event, what the country is, who the opponent is, Michael Bisping shows up. Michael Bisping has the right to be very upset. He's lost essentially 4 fights ever. 1 to Vanderlei, 1 to Dan Henderson, 1 to me, and 1 to Vitor. All of us have the same testing problem in our past.
Right.
He has the right to be angry, and at Vitor specifically, because there was a lot of questions surrounding that, and there was multiple tests, whether you want to call them fails or red flags. And Bisping's got a point, man. He's right on this. If you don't know, you damn sure should know. My name is Chael Sonnen, and you are watching MMA Noise on Louder Noise.